What if I told you that entertainment isn't just entertainment anymore? That the movies you watch, the games you play, the endless scrolling on social media, it's not just a way to pass the time. It's a carefully designed system of control, engineered to keep you distracted, addicted, and obedient. Right now, the world is facing a silent epidemic, and most people don't even realize it's happening to them. It's not a war fought with weapons, it's a war fought with attention, your attention. Because the moment they control your attention, they control you. You wake up in the morning and the first thing you do, you reach for your phone. You check your notifications, scroll through updates, consume bite-sized pieces of content designed to hijack your brain, and before you even take your first sip of coffee, your mind has already been conditioned for dopamine addiction. And this is no accident. Every app, every platform, every form of digital entertainment you consume has been engineered to be addictive. You might think you're choosing what to watch, what to engage with, but the truth is, you're being guided, led down a path that keeps you plugged in, distracted, and numb. And here's where it gets even darker. The system wants you addicted, because an entertained society is an easily controlled society. When people are constantly stimulated, they stop questioning, they stop thinking critically, they stop resisting. You're not just watching Netflix, you're not just playing games, you're being trained, conditioned to consume instead of create, to be passive instead of active, to accept instead of challenge. Think about it. When was the last time you sat in silence with no distractions? When was the last time you read a book without the urge to check your phone? When was the last time you had a deep, meaningful conversation without feeling the itch to look at a screen? This is not normal. This is not how your brain is supposed to function. But for the majority of people, this is life now. Constant stimulation, endless distraction, and an inability to focus on anything real. This isn't just about personal habits. This is about society itself breaking down. Our collective attention span is shrinking. Studies show that our ability to focus has plummeted in just the last 2 decades, and it's getting worse. The average person can barely focus on one task for more than a few minutes before their mind drifts, before the urge to seek more stimulation takes over. And the consequences, they're everywhere. People can't concentrate at work. Students can't study without checking their phones every few minutes. Deep critical thinking is disappearing. Conversations are becoming shallow. Emotions are becoming numb. And people are more disconnected from reality than ever before. And while you struggle to focus, to think clearly, to break free from this addiction, do you know who isn't distracted? The people in power, the corporations, the governments, the ones who benefit from a society that is too entertained to resist, too distracted to question, too addicted to notice what is being taken from them. They don't want a society of thinkers. They want a society of consumers. They want you to be hooked. They want you to waste your time, waste your energy, waste your potential. Because a population that is weak, passive, and easily entertained is a population that will never fight back. And it's not just about the content itself, it's about the way it's delivered. The infinite scroll on your phone, the autoplay feature on your streaming services, the dopamine-driven rewards in video games, they are all designed with one goal in mind: keep you engaged, keep you dependent, keep you coming back for more. The algorithms know you better than you know yourself. They track your behavior, they analyze your patterns, they understand exactly what keeps you hooked, and they feed you exactly what you need to stay addicted. You might think I can stop anytime I want. But can you? When was the last time you went an entire day without consuming some form of digital entertainment? Can you sit alone in silence without reaching for your phone? Can you go a week without binge-watching something? The system has rewired your brain, conditioned you to crave stimulation, to fear boredom, to feel restless when you are not engaged in some form of digital consumption. And this is not your fault, this is deliberate design. And while you spend hours lost in entertainment, the world around you is changing. Decisions are being made, power is being consolidated, freedoms are being eroded, but most people don't notice because they are too distracted, too busy keeping up with the latest show, the latest trend, the latest meaningless controversy that keeps them engaged but never thinking critically. And that's exactly what the system wants. Because the truth is, entertainment is not just entertainment anymore. It is a weapon designed to keep you asleep, to keep you sedated, to keep you from realizing that every minute you spend mindlessly consuming, every hour you lose to empty stimulation, is time you will never get back. Time that could have been spent learning, growing, questioning, creating, breaking free. But here's what they don't want you to know. You can break free. You can rewire your brain, reclaim your focus, and take back control of your life. The first step is to recognize the trap, to see entertainment for what it has become, not just a way to relax, but a system of control. The second step is to retrain your mind, reduce your consumption, resist the urge to fill every moment with distraction, learn to sit in stillness, learn to embrace boredom, learn to rebuild your ability to focus. Because once you break free from entertainment addiction, once you regain control over your mind, everything changes. Your productivity increases, your creativity returns, your ability to think critically, to challenge, to resist, becomes stronger than ever. And that is the last thing they want. Because a society that is focused, awakened, engaged is a society that cannot be controlled. The moment you begin to question, everything changes. The grip of endless entertainment starts to loosen. You begin to see it for what it truly is. Not just a way to pass the time, but a trap. A system designed to keep you complacent, to keep you sedated, to keep you from becoming something greater. But breaking free isn't easy, because the addiction isn't just psychological, it's biological. Your brain has been hijacked. Your neural pathways have been rewired to crave stimulation, to seek constant hits of dopamine, to feel restless, anxious, even empty the moment you try to disconnect. Think about it. Why is it so hard to sit in silence? Why does boredom feel unbearable? Why do you instinctively reach for your phone the second you feel even a hint of stillness? It's because your brain has been trained, conditioned, to fear stillness, to associate idleness with discomfort. But here's the truth they don't want you to know. Boredom is the key to breaking free. When you remove artificial stimulation, when you strip away the endless scrolling, the binge-watching, the quick dopamine fixes, something incredible happens. Your brain begins to heal, your attention span starts to rebuild, your ability to think deeply, to focus, to create, to engage with the world in a meaningful way, it all returns. But most people never experience this because they never allow themselves to go through the withdrawal. And make no mistake, there is withdrawal. The same way a drug addict craves their next hit, the same way a gambler can't walk away from the table, the same way a smoker reaches for a cigarette without thinking, your brain is wired to seek entertainment. And when you try to stop, when you try to step away, you feel it. The discomfort, the anxiety, the overwhelming urge to check your phone, open an app, watch just one more episode. This is not a coincidence, this is deliberate. Because they know that the moment you step outside of the system, the moment you stop consuming and start thinking, you become powerful, you become aware, you begin to see through the illusion, you start to ask dangerous questions. Questions like, who benefits from my distraction? Who gains from my addiction? Who is profiting off of the hours, the days, the years I am losing to mindless consumption? And the answer is simple. Big tech. Social media companies, streaming services, video game industries, the corporate machine that profits off of your addiction, off of your weakness, off of your inability to stop consuming. They are not your friends. They are not neutral platforms. They are designed, engineered, fine-tuned down to the smallest detail to keep you engaged for as long as possible. Not because they care about you, not because they want to entertain you, but because your attention is their currency. Every second you spend on their platforms, they are collecting data. Every click, every scroll, every moment of your time is being monetized, tracked, analyzed to make the system even more addictive. They know exactly what keeps you watching, exactly what keeps you coming back. They know that controversy, outrage, and drama keep you hooked, that short, fast-paced, emotionally charged content is more engaging than long, thought-provoking discussions, that quick, meaningless videos will keep your brain stimulated but empty. Because when you are empty, when you are distracted, when your mind is constantly occupied with trivial nonsense, you are weak, and weak people are easy to control. Weak people do not resist. Weak people do not question authority. Weak people do not create change. They obey, they follow, they consume. And that is exactly what they want. A world full of obedient consumers, too distracted to realize what is happening to them, too entertained to care about the things that actually matter, too numb to fight back against the system that is stripping away their freedom, their privacy, their autonomy. Because as long as you are entertained, as long as you are plugged in, as long as you never stop consuming, you will never be a threat to those in power. But what happens when you stop? What happens when you take back control? When you retrain your brain to function the way it was meant to? When you reject the addiction? When you embrace stillness? When you learn to think again? Something incredible happens. You wake up. You start noticing things you never saw before. You start questioning the things you used to accept without thinking. You begin to feel clearer, sharper, more alive. Your mind is no longer clouded by endless stimulation, by the constant noise of digital consumption. You regain your ability to focus deeply, to work with intensity, to engage in the world in a way that actually matters. You stop being a passive observer of your own life and become an active participant. And the system fears this more than anything, because a person who thinks for themselves is the most dangerous kind of person there is. A person who is no longer hooked, no longer controlled, no longer dependent on distractions, is a person who cannot be manipulated. So the question is, what do you do now? Do you go back to your old habits, back to the endless cycle of consumption, back to the dopamine loops that keep you sedated? Or do you take control? Do you step away from the screen, embrace the discomfort and start rebuilding your mind? Because make no mistake, this is not just about entertainment. This is about your freedom. This is about your ability to think, to focus, to create, to be more than what the system wants you to be. Most people will never break free. Most people will remain addicted, distracted, controlled. But you are not most people, because you have seen the truth, and once you see the truth, you can never unsee it. The time to take back control is now. The choice is yours. You have been conditioned to believe that entertainment is harmless, that it's just a way to relax, to pass the time, to enjoy yourself. But what if I told you that entertainment isn't just entertainment anymore? It has evolved into something else, something far more dangerous. A weapon of mass distraction, a carefully designed system meant to keep you occupied not just for a few hours, but for your entire life. And the longer you stay distracted, the less you notice what is happening to you. Think about how your day unfolds. From the moment you wake up, your attention is being hijacked. You check your phone before you even get out of bed, scrolling through notifications, feeding your mind a steady stream of stimulation before you have even started your day. You open an app, a social media feed, a video platform, just to check something. And before you know it, you've lost minutes, hours, time you can never get back. But does it ever feel like enough? Do you ever feel satisfied, or do you just keep scrolling, looking for the next hit, the next distraction, the next fix? It's not an accident. The infinite scroll, the autoplay function, the quick cut edits, the algorithm feeding you exactly what will keep you engaged. These things are not here to serve you. They are here to trap you, to make sure you never step away, never think too deeply, never get bored enough to question why you feel so unfulfilled. And as you consume, as you numb yourself with endless stimulation, the world around you is being shaped, molded, changed, but you don't notice, because you're too busy watching instead of living. And that's exactly what they want, because the moment you break free, the moment you reclaim your mind, the moment you stop relying on entertainment to fill the void, you become dangerous. You start asking questions, you start seeing through the distractions, through the illusions, you start thinking for yourself, and a person who thinks for themselves cannot be controlled. That is why the system is designed to make sure you never unplug. That is why every form of entertainment is becoming more addictive, more immersive, more difficult to resist. Social media, gaming, streaming, it has all been engineered to keep you inside the loop for as long as possible. Because the longer you stay entertained, the easier it is to control your focus, your thoughts, your beliefs. You are not meant to have moments of stillness anymore. You are not meant to sit in silence, to think deeply, to reflect. Because those moments are dangerous. Those moments are where people wake up. But when was the last time you were truly present? When was the last time you sat with your own thoughts, without reaching for a distraction? When was the last time you felt fully in control of your own mind? For most people, the answer is painful. They don't remember. Because for so long they have been trained to fear stillness, to fill every empty space with something, a video, a song, a game, a feed, anything to keep the brain stimulated. But that constant stimulation is killing your ability to think. It is making you weak. Do you ever wonder why it feels so hard to focus? Why it seems impossible to sit down and work deeply without getting distracted? Why reading a book feels like a chore? Why silence feels uncomfortable? Why every task seems to require background noise, something playing in the distance, something to keep your mind occupied? It's because your brain has been rewired. Your attention span is being erased. Your ability to engage in deep, uninterrupted work is disappearing, and without it you become just another passive observer of your own life, watching but never acting. And that is how they win. Because the people who control the system, the corporations, the governments, the tech giants, they are not distracted. They are not lost in an endless cycle of consumption. They are building, they are growing, they are consolidating power, while the rest of the world is glued to their screens, watching their lives slip away, one episode, one video, one post at a time. And the scariest part? Most people will never even realize it's happening. They will live their entire lives inside the loop. They will wake up, consume, work, consume, sleep, repeat, never questioning, never resisting, never breaking free. And by the time they realize how much time they've wasted, how much of their potential has been drained by meaningless distractions, it will be too late. But not for you. Because now you know the truth, and once you know, you cannot unknow. So what do you do? How do you escape the cycle? It starts with one simple but powerful act: disconnect. Step away from the addiction, break the pattern, retrain your mind to function without constant stimulation. And at first it will feel impossible. Your brain will resist. You will feel the urge to check your phone, to fill the silence, to seek distraction. But if you push through, if you endure the discomfort, something incredible will happen. Your mind will start to heal. Your attention span will begin to return. Your ability to think clearly, to engage deeply, to work without distraction will strengthen. You will feel more in control, more alive, more powerful than you have in years. And suddenly you will see the world for what it truly is. Not just a place to consume, but a place to create. Not just a system to obey, but a system to challenge. You will start using your time differently. You will start investing in yourself instead of feeding the machine that profits from your addiction. And that is where real change begins. Not just in you, but in the world around you. Because when enough people wake up, when enough people reject the distractions, when enough people break free from the loop, the system loses its power. The corporations can no longer manipulate your attention. The governments can no longer keep you compliant through entertainment. The tech giants can no longer dictate what you see, what you think, what you believe, because suddenly people will start thinking for themselves again. That is what they fear. That is why they have spent billions of dollars perfecting the algorithms, refining the content, engineering the addiction. Because an entertained society is an obedient society. A distracted mind is a weak mind, and they cannot afford to have a world full of strong, focused, aware individuals who refuse to be controlled. So ask yourself, are you ready to break free? Are you ready to take back control? Are you ready to unplug from the system that has been draining your potential, stealing your focus, controlling your mind? The decision is yours. But remember this: every second you spend mindlessly consuming is a second you will never get back. Every hour lost to entertainment is an hour that could have been spent building, growing, creating, achieving. And one day you will wake up and realize that the most valuable thing you ever had was not money, not status, not material possessions. It was your time. And the question is, how much more of it are you willing to waste? You have been given a gift. Not wealth, not fame, not power. Something far greater: awareness. Most people go their entire lives without ever questioning the things they consume. They wake up, they work, they entertain themselves, they sleep, and they repeat. They never stop to ask why. Why is it so easy to waste time? Why does entertainment feel like an escape, but never truly satisfy? Why does every moment of stillness feel uncomfortable, like something is missing? But now you know the answer. You have seen the system for what it really is. Entertainment is not just entertainment. It is not just a harmless pastime. It is a system designed to control your attention, weaken your mind, and keep you distracted. And if you don't take back control, you will live and die inside that system, never realizing that your most valuable resource, your time, was stolen from you second by second, hour by hour, year by year. But it doesn't have to be this way. You have the power to break free. You have the power to wake up from the endless cycle of consumption. The question is, will you? Most people won't. Most people will hear this, nod their heads, agree that entertainment has become an addiction, and then go right back to consuming. They will justify it. It's just one more episode. It's just a little distraction. I'll stop after this. But they never do. Because the system was designed to make quitting feel impossible. Think about it. If you had never been exposed to constant digital entertainment, if you had never been conditioned to need stimulation every second of the day, would you even miss it? Would you feel anxious without your phone? Would you struggle to sit alone with your own thoughts? No. The discomfort you feel when you try to step away is not natural. It was programmed into you. It is a symptom of addiction. And like any addiction, breaking free is painful at first. Your brain has been rewired to seek instant gratification, to avoid discomfort at all costs. The first time you put down your phone, turn off the TV, resist the urge to escape into meaningless distractions, you will feel it. The itch to check, the need to entertain yourself, the overwhelming sense of boredom that feels unbearable. But here's the truth they never told you. Boredom is not the enemy. Boredom is the key. When you are constantly entertained, you are never alone with your thoughts. You never reflect. You never imagine. You never allow your mind to wander, to create, to question, to explore. And that is exactly why the system works so hard to keep you entertained. Because boredom leads to awareness. The greatest thinkers in history, the inventors, the visionaries, the revolutionaries, they all had something in common. They embraced boredom. They did not fill every moment with noise. They spent time in silence, in thought, in deep focus. They trained their minds to resist distraction, to think deeply, to question everything. And because of that, they changed the world. But today the average person cannot go more than a few minutes without reaching for their phone. They cannot sit in silence without feeling uncomfortable. They cannot focus on a single task without the urge to check, to scroll, to consume. And that is exactly what the system wants. Because people who cannot focus, people who cannot think deeply, people who cannot sit in stillness, they are not a threat. And that is why breaking free from entertainment addiction is not just a personal choice. It is an act of rebellion. It is a rejection of a system that profits off of your distraction, off of your weakness, off of your inability to control your own mind. It is a statement, a declaration that you will not be controlled. But to break free, you must make a choice. You must decide right now that your time is worth more than empty stimulation, that your mind is stronger than the addiction that was forced upon it, that your life is more valuable than hours wasted in front of a screen. Because once you start taking back control, once you begin to resist the urge to be constantly entertained, something incredible happens. Your mind starts to wake up. Your ability to focus, to think clearly, to create, to engage with the world in a meaningful way, it all returns. You start to see how much time you have lost, how many moments were stolen from you by the illusion of entertainment, and you realize that every second you spend on mindless consumption is a second you will never get back. And the real tragedy? Most people will never realize this until it is too late. They will wake up one day and wonder where their time went. They will look back and see a life filled with distractions, with entertainment, with things that felt good in the moment but left nothing behind. And they will wish they had used their time differently. that they had learned more, built more, created more, lived more. But by then it will be too late. But you don't have to be one of them, because you are awake now. So what will you do? Will you allow yourself to fall back into the loop? Will you give your time, your energy, your focus back to the system that wants you distracted? Or will you take control? Will you start using your time intentionally? Will you retrain your mind to function without constant stimulation? Will you learn to sit in stillness, to embrace boredom, to think deeply once again? Because this is the choice that defines everything. The choice between being controlled and being free. The choice between wasting time and using it wisely. The choice between being entertained and being powerful. And now, that choice is yours. There will come a moment when you realize that you've been living inside a carefully designed illusion, an illusion that kept you entertained but never fulfilled, stimulated but never satisfied, distracted but never truly engaged with the life unfolding right in front of you. And when that moment comes, it will hit you like a tidal wave. The weight of all the hours, all the days, all the years spent consuming instead of creating, watching instead of doing, escaping instead of living. And when you look back at the time you can never get back, you will have to ask yourself one simple question. Was it worth it? This is the question they don't want you to ask. Because the moment you do, the illusion begins to shatter. You start to see the patterns, the systems designed to keep you distracted, the corporations that profit off of your inability to look away, the apps that know you better than you know yourself. The content engineered to keep you scrolling, clicking, consuming, without ever realizing that you are the product. Your attention is the commodity being bought and sold, and as long as you stay plugged in, as long as you remain addicted, you are feeding a system that is not designed to empower you, it is designed to own you. And it is not just social media, it is not just streaming, it is the entire culture of entertainment as a way of life. The endless cycle of manufactured content, of mindless stimulation, of carefully crafted distractions keeping you from the one thing that truly matters, your own mind. Because if you are constantly entertained, you are never alone with your thoughts. And if you are never alone with your thoughts, you never truly think for yourself. When was the last time you sat in silence without reaching for your phone? When was the last time you felt boredom without immediately trying to fill the void? When was the last time you allowed your mind to be still, to process, to question, to wonder? These moments used to be natural. They used to be where great ideas were born, where creativity flourished, where self-awareness was cultivated. But today, boredom has been engineered out of existence. Every spare moment is filled with something. Videos, music, games, endless content designed to keep your mind occupied but never truly engaged. And the result? A society that no longer thinks deeply, that no longer questions the systems that govern them, that no longer has the patience to focus, to build, to grow. Instead, we have a world of passive consumers, people who fill their time but never own it, people who chase momentary pleasure but never experience deep fulfillment, people who feel empty but don't know why. And the scariest part? Most people will never realize it. They will live their entire lives inside the loop, entertained but unfulfilled, stimulated but directionless, engaged but never truly alive. They will spend years thinking they are happy because they never stop to question whether the things keeping them busy are the same things keeping them empty. But you are different, because you are seeing the truth. You are beginning to understand that you have been conditioned to be addicted, that your attention has been stolen, that your ability to focus, to think deeply, to live with intention has been systematically eroded. And the moment you recognize this, the moment you wake up, you have a choice to make. You can continue as you were. You can go back to the distractions, the easy dopamine hits, the endless cycle of content that fills the silence but never the emptiness. Or you can break free. You can step outside of the system. You can take back control of your mind. But here's the truth they don't want you to know. Breaking free is painful, because addiction doesn't just disappear. The first time you put down your phone, the first time you refuse to binge watch another show, the first time you sit in stillness, and allow your mind to detox from constant stimulation, it will feel uncomfortable. Your brain will crave the dopamine, the instant gratification, the easy escape. You will feel the pull, the itch, the need to fill the silence with something, anything. But if you resist, if you push through, if you embrace the discomfort, something incredible happens. You start to rebuild yourself. Your attention span grows. Your ability to focus strengthens. Your mind, no longer drowning in constant stimulation, begins to wake up. You start to feel the difference between consuming and creating, between being entertained and being truly engaged with your own life. You begin to realize that every moment of stillness, every second you reclaim from the system, is a step toward true power. Because a person who controls their mind, who controls their focus, who is no longer chained to entertainment addiction, is a person who cannot be controlled. And that is the greatest threat to the system that profits off of your distraction. This is why they push entertainment harder than ever before, why every app is designed to keep you inside, why every show is engineered to be binge-worthy, why every game is built with psychological triggers to make you play longer. They do not want you to stop. They do not want you to resist. They do not want you to wake up. But now you have a choice. You can be a passive observer of your own life, endlessly consuming, endlessly entertained, endlessly distracted while the world moves forward without you, or you can be something greater. You can choose to own your time, own your focus, own your mind. You can choose to disconnect from the distractions and reconnect with reality. Because in the end, your life is not made up of the hours you spent watching, scrolling, escaping. It is made up of the moments you were truly present, truly aware, truly alive. And the question you must ask yourself now is this: how much more of your life are you willing to waste? The decision is yours. Every second you spend in the cycle of endless entertainment is a second you will never get back. Every hour lost to mindless scrolling, to binge-watching, to chasing the next hit of stimulation is an hour that could have been used to build something, to learn something, to create something that actually matters. And the most terrifying part? Most people don't even realize that they're wasting their own existence. They are so deep inside the system, so hooked on constant stimulation, that they never stop to ask themselves, what am I actually doing with my life? Because that's the question that shatters the illusion. That's the question that makes people wake up, look around, and realize that they have been conditioned to waste their time, that their potential has been drained by forces they were never even aware of, and that the life they are living, the habits they have built, the things they call fun, the way they spend their free time, is not a result of their own choices. It is a result of programming. They have been programmed to be addicted, trained to need constant stimulation, conditioned to feel anxious the second they aren't consuming something. And the moment you understand this, the moment you see it for what it is, you realize something even more important. You can reprogram yourself. Because addiction to entertainment is not permanent, it is a habit, a pattern, a mental loop that has been reinforced over time, and just as it was built, it can be broken. But breaking it requires one thing: discipline. The ability to say no, the ability to resist the urges, to push through the discomfort, to train your brain to function without constant distraction. And that is where most people fail. Most people will hear this message, they will recognize that they are trapped. They will nod their heads and say, yes, this is true, I need to change. And then they will go right back to consuming, right back to watching, to scrolling, to filling every empty space with entertainment that keeps them numb. Not because they don't want to break free, but because they never trained themselves to handle boredom. Because that's the first step. Learning to sit in silence. Learning to be alone with your own thoughts. Learning to feel the discomfort of boredom and not run from it. Because once you can do that, once you can resist the urge to constantly stimulate your mind, you begin to rebuild something you may not have even realized you lost: your ability to focus. Focus is the most valuable skill in the modern world. It is what separates those who create from those who only consume, those who build their own lives from those who merely exist inside of someone else's system. And the truth is, focus is not something you are born with. It is something you train. It is something you develop by resisting distractions, by actively choosing where your attention goes, by refusing to let your mind be hijacked. Because attention is power, and in today's world your attention is being fought over every single second. Corporations are spending billions to figure out how to keep you watching longer, clicking more, staying engaged, just a little bit more than you plan to. Because every second you give them is another second you don't own, another second you are not using for yourself, another second that disappears into the void of meaningless consumption. And when you start seeing entertainment for what it really is, a trap, you start asking different questions. You start asking, who benefits from my distraction? Who gains from my addiction? Who is getting rich off of my inability to look away? And the answer is simple: big tech, social media companies, the entertainment industry, the governments that thrive on a population too distracted to question anything. These are the entities that profit from your addiction. They are not here to serve you. They are not neutral. They are not innocent. They are carefully designing everything you consume with one goal in mind: to keep you engaged, to keep you addicted, to keep you plugged in for as long as possible. Because an entertained population is an obedient population, a population that is too distracted to fight back, to think deeply, to reclaim their own minds. And that is why breaking free is the ultimate act of resistance. The moment you start using your time differently, the moment you stop feeding the system and start taking back control, everything changes. Your mind starts to wake up. Your creativity returns, your ability to think clearly, to focus, to work deeply, to engage with the world in a way that actually matters. It all comes back. But most people will never experience this, because most people will never have the discipline to break free. They will continue telling themselves that entertainment is just entertainment, that it's harmless, that it's just a way to unwind. But deep down, they will feel it. The exhaustion, the emptiness, the sinking realization that no matter how much they consume, they never feel truly satisfied. Because here's the truth they don't want you to know. You are not supposed to be entertained all the time. That is not how your mind was meant to function. That is not how you reach your potential. That is not how you become the person you were meant to be. Greatness does not come from entertainment. It comes from discomfort, from the ability to push through boredom, to resist distraction, to train your mind to stay focused when the entire world is trying to steal your attention. It comes from the ability to say no to the quick dopamine hit, to the easy escape, to the carefully designed addiction that is keeping you small. And the people who do this, the people who take back control, they are the ones who build empires. They are the ones who create, who innovate, who change the world, not because they are special, not because they have more talent or intelligence or resources than you, but because they made a choice to control their own minds instead of letting someone else do it for them. So what will you do? Will you continue as you are, knowing that every moment lost to entertainment is a moment you can never get back? Or will you step away from the system? Will you resist the pull? Will you train your mind to function without distraction? Because once you do, once you reclaim your time, your focus, your ability to live intentionally, you will understand the truth that has been hidden from you all along. You were never meant to be a consumer. You were meant to be a creator. And now the choice is yours. Every moment you waste inside the cycle of endless entertainment is a moment you will never get back. And deep down you already know this. You feel it, the frustration, the exhaustion, the quiet regret that creeps in when you realize another hour has slipped through your fingers, another day has disappeared into the void of distraction. You tell yourself you'll stop, that you'll be better tomorrow, that you'll change. But tomorrow comes and the cycle continues. Not because you lack willpower, not because you don't care about your time, but because you have been conditioned to need this addiction. You didn't choose to be this way. You didn't wake up one morning and decide that you wanted to struggle to focus, to feel restless without stimulation, to waste hours on content that leaves you feeling empty. But somewhere along the way, the system took hold of you. It rewired your brain, trained you to seek entertainment like a drug, to crave the dopamine rush of a new notification, a new episode, a new distraction from reality. and the longer you stay inside the loop, the harder it becomes to break free. But here's what they don't want you to realize. You can break free. The conditioning can be reversed. The addiction can be unlearned. Your brain can be rewired. And the moment you understand that, the moment you truly believe that you are in control of your own mind, the system begins to lose its grip. But breaking free is not easy, because the withdrawal is real. The first time you put your phone down, the first time you force yourself to sit in silence, to resist the pull of entertainment, you will feel it. The discomfort, the urge to check, to scroll, to watch, to consume something, anything, to fill the silence. And that is the moment where most people fail. That is the moment when they tell themselves that it's too hard, that they can't focus, that they'll never be able to function without constant stimulation. But that moment, that is where the real battle begins. Because if you can push through it, if you can resist the urge to go back to the addiction, something incredible happens. Your brain starts to heal, the fog lifts, your focus returns, your ability to sit with your own thoughts, to think deeply, to engage with the world in a meaningful way, it all begins to come back, and then you realize the truth. You were never meant to be entertained all the time. You were never meant to live in a state of constant distraction. Your mind was built for more. But most people will never get to that point. They will try to quit, feel the discomfort, and run back to the addiction, convincing themselves that they need it, that it's not that bad, that entertainment is just entertainment. But those are the lies they tell themselves to avoid facing the truth that their time is slipping away, that their potential is being drained, that they are becoming less every single day they stay inside the cycle. And this is what they want. The corporations, the social media platforms, the entertainment industry, they want you weak. They want you distracted. They want you too entertained to realize that you are being controlled. Because a population that is addicted to entertainment is a population that will never resist, a population that will never fight back, a population that will never wake up. But you are not like them, because you see the system for what it is. You understand that every second of your attention is being fought over, every moment of your time is being monetized, and now you have a choice. Do you continue feeding the machine that is keeping you trapped, or do you take back control? Because make no mistake, taking back control is the hardest thing you will ever do. It requires discipline. It requires discomfort. It requires rewiring your brain to function without the constant stimulation it has been trained to crave. But if you can do it, if you can break free from the addiction, everything changes. Your ability to focus will return. Your creativity will flourish. Your mind will wake up from the haze of distraction. You will start using your time differently, not to consume but to create, not to escape reality but to shape it. And that is what they fear the most. A population of people who are no longer entertained, no longer distracted, no longer under their control. And that is why they will do everything in their power to keep you inside the system, to make sure you never leave, to make sure you never realize what you could become if you stopped wasting your life on meaningless distractions. They will give you more content, more apps, more reasons to stay plugged in. They will make the entertainment better, faster, more addictive. They will do whatever it takes to keep you from looking up, from questioning, from taking back your mind. But now you know the truth. Now you see the game for what it is. And that means you have a choice. Will you continue to be a passive observer of your own life, a mindless consumer who exists only to be entertained? Or will you step away from the addiction, resist the pull of distraction, and start building a life that actually matters? Because in the end, the only thing that will matter is what you did with your time. Not the shows you watched, not the videos you scrolled through, not the games you played to pass the time, but what you created, built, learned, and experienced, what you left behind, what you became. So the question is, how much longer are you willing to waste? One day you will look back on your life, and when you do, the only thing that will matter is how you spent your time, not the shows you watched, not the games you played, not the endless scroll of content that kept you entertained but never fulfilled. What will matter is what you built, what you created, what you became. And for most people, that moment of realization will come too late, because they will have spent their entire existence trapped inside a system that was never designed to serve them, a system that stole their attention, drained their potential, and left them with nothing but memories of distractions. They will wake up one day and realize that they spent their lives being entertained instead of living, that they were nothing more than spectators in their own story, passive observers of a life they never truly owned. And when that moment comes, when they finally understand what has been taken from them, they will wish, more than anything, that they could go back, that they could reclaim all the time they wasted, that they could do it all differently. But by then, it will be too late. For you are still here. You are still breathing, still capable, still able to make a choice. You can choose right now to take back what is yours, to step away from the distractions, to reclaim your focus, to start living a life that is yours instead of one that has been programmed for you. And yes, it will be hard, yes, it will be uncomfortable, because you have been conditioned to fear boredom, to crave entertainment, to need constant stimulation just to feel normal, and breaking that conditioning will take time. It will take discipline. It will take resistance against everything that has been designed to keep you hooked. But if you can do it, if you can break free, if you can train your mind to function without addiction, then you will experience something that most people never will: freedom. Not the kind of freedom that comes from money or success or status, but the kind of freedom that comes from owning your mind, from being in complete control of your thoughts, your focus, your time. Because time is the only thing you truly own. It is the most valuable thing you will ever have, and once it's gone forever. And the greatest tragedy? Most people will never realize that until the end. So I will ask you one last time, how much more of your life are you willing to waste?